Hi there. Welcome to Run every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So excited for today. I have an action-packed episode to get everyone familiar. We're going to do 3 sections: radar, upskill, and new. That's what Run is. Run, don't walk, as they say. Today, we're going to continue the fun with some special guests, and we're going to learn about make.com. And we're going to just go over a whole bunch of different creative ways to use AI in your day-to-day. And without further ado, let me introduce you to some of our guests. We have Evan, Rob, and Samantha joining us today. Let's do a quick intro, starting ladies first, as they say with Samantha. Give us a quick intro and tell us about yourself.
I'm Samantha. I live in Miami Beach, and I'm a big fan of AI. I've actually been using MatChat quite a bit. Lately, I've been pursuing becoming a content creator, so have filmed a lot of content, but have been struggling to figure out how to post the content. So I am looking forward to learning some tips and tricks today and excited to be here. Thanks, Matt.
Definitely going to try to inspire you. Fantastic. Thanks for being here, Samantha. Let's go to Evan. Sorry, let's go to Rob. Let's go to Rob, a new face here. Go ahead, Rob, introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Rob. I live in Boulder, Colorado currently, and I'm a big fan of playing soccer every week and AI also in my work life. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Matt, for having me. I appreciate it.
Rob is brand new to make.com, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his journey in a little while. And then we have Evan returning. Evan, we haven't scared you away yet, so what brings you back?
Not yet. All these tips and tricks are just too good.
Fantastic.
They keep bringing me back. So yeah, I'm Evan. I'm in St. Louis. If you haven't watched the previous live streams, I recommend you go watch those. And they will feed right into today's content. So I'm really excited to see new faces on the stream today. So welcome, everybody.
Cool. One thing we're going to start with is music. I know Samantha has a good ear for music. We're going to start with this AI-generated chill music. Let's see what we got here.
AI generated.
AI generated in the background. There's lots of, there's other ones, like you could do cinematic, this one. Nope, it stopped on its own. Let's just go back to chill.
I like the chill vibe. That was nice. Oh,
yeah, it switches it up. So I'm gonna make
It's hitting all the right notes. It's hitting all the right.
Oh, there you go. Music to my ears.
Pitch perfect.
Okay, I think it's not too loud, right? It's good in the background.
I think it's perfect.
There we go. All right, so let's jump right in. Let me go to, let's see. Let me plug this one first. Oh, heyo. Skip the Line is a book that I wrote that comes out on June 26th. And if you have a phone handy, you can go ahead and scan that QR code. You'll get to the Amazon page where you can pre-order on Kindle for instant delivery on June 26th. There are other editions that will be available on that day. And you can check out all the details at thedataguy.com/skiptheline. Fun fact is somebody just scanned the QR code right now. So maybe you can be the next person.
It's a cool little feature you set up there.
Yeah, fantastic. So now we're gonna go back to here. Very professional. And I'm gonna share my screen to get this party going in the radar section. But first I need to figure out which view. So let's go with this one. Let's go to this one. And let's go to share screen. And I'll share my window. I can share my window. I'll share my tab. I'll share the window. There's nothing to hide here. Let's go to this one. There you go. Okay, let me make this a little bit easier to read. Oops. Or not. Or that way. Or this way. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so usually as I prepare for this radar section, I go to Google search and I type in keywords like AI replacing jobs or fear of AI or something like that to pull open AI articles, and then I sift through them and I try to find the one that makes the most sense. And then I present them here, and that's what Evan and I have been doing for the last couple of weeks. But I figured that instead, I would use MatChat to show you guys what I would prefer to do if everyone understood how to do an AI workflow. And let me show you what I have in mind. Here we go. Buckle up. The first thing I'm going to do is go over here, and instead of reading all of these articles, I'm going to copy all of the information on the page and put it into MatChat and say, summarize this and tell me the so what. This is how my mind thinks when I'm putting together. So here you go. Summary of AI job impact news articles. It's giving me multiple major publications are reporting increase on AI impact. Okay, so it's like, tell me what I need to know in 2 sentences. The consensus across major media outlets is that AI is primarily disrupting entry-level and junior white-collar positions first, not entire professions, creating an immediate market need for cost-effective automation solutions. Great. Oh, that's a Trash Your Stack. It's my community. You're like, how did it know that? So I'm planning on launching a community. And that's my intention. It knows that because over here in my user settings, it knows that I'm Matt Belitsky, a management consultant based in Miami Beach. I'm a Make.com expert and launching Trash Your Stack, which is a way to reimagine thinking about B2B software by building infrastructure for pennies on the dollar instead of whatever chaos exists out there right now. That's a fun fact to know that I forgot, but that's in there. And so this is giving me the context that it thinks will be helpful for this Trash Your Stack community. So that's what that means. Got it? Everyone's like, what is this? Yeah. Surprise. That was a unintended consequence. So now this is helpful for summarizing, and I don't think that this play is as interesting for this group because they're familiar with how to do this and they've done some variation of it before. So what I wanted to do is take this to the next level. And I was thinking about Samantha's use case where she's thinking about distributing content, and she's probably thinking all the time about how to create like clever content and different types of content and content that resonates, and when is a summary too summarized and all that kind of stuff. Samantha, is that valid? Are you thinking of those things?
Yep, definitely. There's a lot of competition here in Miami to become an internet star.
Yeah, internet stardom.
Yep.
You're on your way.
Thank you.
One live stream at a time.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is I have Claude Sonnet pulled up, and my prompt is, you are my chief of staff. Let's keep it like that for right now, but I'm going to start learning about how business works. And this is how I operate. This is how I work when I start from scratch with something. And go with me. This is how I operate. So the first thing I'm going to say is, tell me about jobs at a company that are in charge of writing marketing messaging. Okay, so key positions. We've got, let's begin with the Trash Your Stack. It's going to be all up in that. Let's go ahead and delete that. It's annoying. Let's just say I'm Matt Belitsky.
Is this going to be scraping the internet at all for these jobs that you're...
Not yet. Instead, what I'm going to show you is how I learn what I need to ask for without knowing what I need to know at the beginning.
Okay, gotcha.
So you're like, so one thing I'm going to do here, because this is a bit messy, is I'm going to say, I want you to reply in inline markdown, which will hopefully clean this up a little bit. There you go. This gives me like, Markdown is a language for formatting. And so now I can see content marketing manager, brand manager, copywriter, content strategist. Okay, perfect. So what I'm actually looking for is a copywriter, creates compelling marketing copy across channels. Okay, so now I'm going to say, what become a copywriter with 20 years of experience with the best plan. Educate me on framework.
Matt, you should fix your microphone slightly.
Oh yeah?
Yep. Oh, much better. Whatever you just did. Yep. It was going out, but now it's back.
Put it right here. Is
Yeah,
that
perfect.
A little higher.
Yeah, it was
Shirt's
muffled.
kind of opening up here. We got a little cleavage situation
Oh
happening.
my! This is oh my gosh! This is a family show.
Children's. I mean, I'm not, I'm not showing it all. It's just
Okay.
one live stream at a time. Okay, buckle up. So, educate me on frameworks that only a pro would know. So now it's becoming a character, an elite copywriting, 20-year veteran. Okay, so here we've got pain, agitate, solve. Used the 7-layer hook method used at Nike and Apple. The sensory ladder, high conversion brand technique, interesting, pro tips, etc. The money framework. Okay, let's say that I like
I kind of like the third one.
like the third one?
Yeah.
The sensory ladder? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this one.
Yeah, luxury brand. Yeah.
Luxury brand. So we're going to copy that. And then I'm going to create a new chat. And in the prompt here, I'm going to say, you are an expert copywriter that knows, that provides copy in this format.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to click out of that. And then we're going to go back to here. We're going to copy this. I don't know, that's what we're taking as context. And we're going to say, here is the content spin, or here is the context. Spin up some content for Instagram.
While it's thinking, I just have to say, I've seen something like this before, and every time I see it, it just blows me away. It's so amazing.
My fear is that by showing people that this is how I work, this is like boring, and I want to be like exciting, but I feel like as long as I just tell you guys like this is what I do. So I didn't need to know that a copywriter was a job at a company. I learned the term copywriter. Then I learned the frameworks that a copywriter would use. Then I'm using those now to summarize content, and it's doing Instagram posts, which is why it's putting these like emojis here, but it's doing it in a way where we have the visual trigger, the auditory cues, all the way down here. So this is like a way to create unique content that is not just like a generic summarization, which is what most of these LLMs do unless you tell it otherwise. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Another thing I'm going to show you is I can say, I want this to be punchier. I want 3 options to choose from. And I need a call to action for my website, thedataguy.com. Here you go. It's giving me options. Let's see this in the disruptor angle. Your laptop pings, another headline. AI replaces entire department. Drama. The whispers are getting louder. Is my job next? What is this? Wish star of a wish. Your palms sweat scrolling through LinkedIn. Another mass layoff. Heart, that pit in your stomach. Turn it to rocket fuel. Target. You're not the next layoff story. You're the next adaptation success.
That's great. That's really good.
Master AI before it masters your industry, Rob. Get my AI-proof career roadmap at thedataguy.com/future. Don't go there. It's not a real thing, but you can go to thedataguy.com. Anyway, here we are. Okay, so then you're saying, okay, this is helpful, but this is what I want to show you. This is the real trick. Provide me with the meta prompt to get this output every time. And now it's going to give you the prompt that you would need to tell it up front to deliver this each time. So all you have to do is add the content each time and you would get the same thing every time. And now you don't have to worry about the framework and the copywriting and the examples and everything because it's already known. So you're saying, well, what does that mean? You could copy this, come over here, new chat, come over here, prompt this over here into the prompt, click out and say, let's say this company, Mechanize, that I was looking at, is over here. Oops. New York Times article, gated. They have this as the top headline, SF startup building artificial intelligence tools to automate white-collar jobs as fast as possible. Love that. It's crazy. So I went to Mechanize Inc. This is their website. I said, great, I'm going to copy all of that, put it in here, and I'm going to say, write me 3 post options, paste, and it knows what to do because of the system prompt based on the sensory ladder, and it's just going to do it every time.
This is unreal.
Is that cool?
Very
Not helpful?
Really cool.
So what I was doing before in preparation for these meetings is doing a version of this, and then I would be like, okay, and now produce a document where you have 5 different sources that are talking about the same thing and put it together an essay. And then I was like, I don't think people care about all of the work that I'm doing up front to go over an article to have a specific position, but this is how I work. So let me get some feedback, live feedback. Anyone learn something? Meta prompt? That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
That was a
very
new,
cool.
new
Okay,
term for me.
Evan, go ahead. Evan, you go first.
Oh, sorry. That was a new term for me, meta prompt. I've used that same sort of path to get there, but it took me longer. So I'm going to have to keep this one in my toolbox to keep driving conversations forward.
I just want to flag that took you probably 4 to 5 minutes to do all that when it probably would have taken somebody 2 to 3 hours to put all that together. So that's what's really impressive. The time saving that you're doing with this is that's key.
Yeah, I've got one more before we go to Samantha. I'm going to show you one more thing. There's a way, so I mentioned before that there's Markdown and inline Markdown, and you can play around with these different terms. All the models have a different way of kind of talking. There's another thing that I do, which is provide the meta prompt in a code block. And what'll happen is it'll create a separate block of text that you're able to copy directly from, like here. And then this represents what you could paste into the system prompt. So another thing is in the meta prompt, please include a good and a bad example. That's even better. So there you go. That's how to do prompting. Samantha, what do you think? Is that going to help you in your life?
Yeah, well, I think it's cool that in this app you can save them in different areas, because
Yes.
I find myself like retyping when I'm using a standard LLM like a Claude or a ChatGPT. I'm like retyping over and over and over again the prompt, and I think what you're showing here is you can like save it.
Yeah, that's good. So what we're going to do is at the top of here, we're going to copy that. You can see there's a check mark, and then I can come over here to my prompts, and I can go new prompt, and then I can call this one my copywriting expert prompt.
I have a question. So
Yep.
would you make a new chat every time, or can you keep a chat going forever and ever and ever and ever?
It's a great question. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to press
Okay.
create for this right now, and then I have it, and then you're saying, how do I access it? You do /P, and then you can see the copywriting expert there. Now, one thing I'll mention is that you see how this is like a framework topic. It's like a little bit unclear of like where you're supposed to put the original content. So I would do the following. I know this is a bit of a coding trick here. So in Markdown, the way that it works is with headers H1, H2, H3. It's based on the number sign. So a number sign space represents the header of an H1, and 2 is an H2. And that's how the LLM understands the instructions and the hierarchy of the information on the page. So it knows to treat H2s like the same and H3s like the same, as if you had like a long form document. And so what I do to give it more instruction in these prompts is I'll say at the top, I'll do like 2, and I'll say prompt, and then I'll come down here and I'll go like this and I'll say input, and I'll make an extra space intentionally. Now I know that I didn't say this in the prompt, but I'm going to copy all of that. I'm going to go back to my copywriting expert. I'm going to go Control-Alt, paste that in. You can see the inputs down here and save. And so now when I get this prompt back and I go /P, enter, I know that I can enter my prompt content there and hit enter, and then I don't have to worry about it. And when it actually goes, here I'll show you the example. Let's take this content again. I'll take everything from this page. My favorite thing about copying everything from a page is you don't have to worry about the titles and the logos and the header and everything. It knows what to do because it thinks intelligently. So we're going to go to input, paste, enter. And then as I scroll down, you'll see, here's what I wanted to show you. It actually inline put the H2 header of prompt and then showed me the content from the prompt. And then down here is the input. So you can see that it rendered in the markdown. And so now I can see the input here, and then it does its thing down here like you would expect it to. And so you can imagine having, as you mentioned, prompts. You have a whole bunch of prompts and you just do shortcut keys. And you can have a series of prompts where you can have one prompt is like, take this content and put it into a whole bunch of ideas. And then the next one is like, from the ideas, put them into something else or put them into a different format. And you can just one by one go through all your prompts. So that's how to do prompting, and that's how to save the prompts in MatChat. But I'll show you something else, which is what you were talking about with context, which is the memory of how much it knows. So here in this icon, which is like an information icon, you can see that I'm using this model 3.5 Sonnet, and this is the cutoff, the knowledge cutoff date. That's when it was from. October 2024. It's an older model, but it works, pretty well. And then down here, you see the context length is 25,000. So let me show you what that means. If you did a new chat, you can only set it at the beginning, and you can't, to my knowledge, you can't set it on a GPT or Claude subscription. You can only do it through the API, which is one of the benefits of using MatChat because you can access everything here. So here I have it default on 25,000. When you hover over this little icon, it's 25,000 tokens is what this is the equivalent of a 50-page document, like a 50-page PDF. And so if you want a 100-page PDF or you want longer, you can increase the context length. When I'm doing analysis or I'm doing more like laborious work, like creating a memo, around 100,000 is fine for me. But I will mention that the new models, which are like, instead of it being, I'll show you another example. We can go to Gemini 1.5 Flash, and you can see the context length here is 104,000 default because it goes up to 1 million. And you're saying, what's 1 million? So this is what I was talking about with Evan the other day. 1 million, or I think 750,000 tokens is every word in the Harry Potter series. So in this world, you could provide the context of every word in the Harry Potter series and then still keep talking to it. Now, Samantha's question is, how does the context window work? It's a sliding window. So let's say you have 2 million context, but you have 1 million context length. It only knows the last 1 million as it continues to go with you. That's why, in my belief, when you're using a ChatGPT or you're engaging with an AI for the first time, you don't know about the context window and you talk with it for a while, and then you expect it to remember the beginning of your conversation, but it doesn't. That's usually what the issue is. So having the flexibility with MatChat is like the real kicker here. Okay, everyone learned something? That's the radar section. Great.
Yep, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to switch gears. Let's go back to how do I stop sharing my screen? Okay, everyone learned something. Love that. Love that. And now we're going to go to what I wanted to share with you. I think you're going to. So now we're in this next section. I don't know how to move around. And that little icon over here, over there, is it over here?
Oh, it's
Up there. It's run, don't walk. Is it there? Is that it?
perfect. Yeah.
You got it.
It's up in the corner over there. And it's upskill is the new section. And so we're going to go back to this view. There we are. And you know what? Let's learn about each other a little bit more, about some of the characters that are here today, because we just learned a little bit about Samantha. So Samantha, that helped with brainstorming content. And the next thing I'm going to show you is how to use make.com in some new ways. So I hope that it inspires you. Do a pulse check though. How you feeling so far? 2 thumbs up?
2 thumbs up.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And Evan, we're going to come to you in a second, but Rob, would love to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure. Yeah. What do you
Tell us
know?
about, so I understand that you recently started learning make.com as of maybe a week ago.
Yeah, about a week and a half. I started the online courses that they have.
Okay, so tell me about it. I didn't know that make.com had online courses. I just learned through osmosis, but I probably could have used some structured training. So tell us about the courses and tell us what you learned.
Yeah, so make.com has their Make Academy, and it goes through 4 courses. The first one is like more introductory to like what is Make and what is automation, because make.com is an automation platform, right? And so it just starts you off with like their key terms that they use, their terminology, which would be like a scenario or a module. It could be like operations that you run in your automation. So it just kind of gives you basic definitions on their terminology, and then it teaches you how to like start making scenarios off the start, right? So let's see, the first one you could do is like automate emails to go to a certain web inbox in your email. You could also automate a G Sheet to get populated with data automatically from an email. So let's say you get data from an email and you want that data to go to a G Sheet, you can use make.com to do that. And the classes that you take on there will help you like start to learn that. So yeah, I mean, I've only done the first couple courses. I got my first badge of certification of like the introductory courses, and now I'm moving on to the more complicated things where you have multiple modules and multiple scenarios, which it gets pretty complex, but it's a very powerful tool and very impressive tool. And to watch you use it too, Matt, is pretty impressive sometimes. It's just
great.
Learning by osmosis that way. I think that's a great way of learning too. Instead of just doing the academy courses, right? They start you off with like, what's the weather like? And then send that to a text message to myself, so I get an update every morning on what the weather is in my neighborhood, which is pretty cool. And then you can just take it to the next level with what I've seen you do sometimes, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, I like it. I'm going to keep going through the courses, and I can't wait to get like as proficient as you are in it.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
We're
going to make you into a powerhouse in no time. You're only 1 week in. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Evan, we're going to come to you in a little while. I'm going to jump into this upskill section. I'm going to show you guys something else that I think will blow your mind. And let me go ahead and share another screen, which is actually make.com. And I'm going to go to my screen, share, another window, which is going to be here. Oh, now we're on this side. Sure, why not? Okay. Here I am in make.com. I don't like this. I want to move over here so I can see you guys. Let's go like this. Okay, so I'm in make.com. Oh, what happened to the music?
Oh.
I didn't even notice that. It went away.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. Wow.
Well, I'm going to try it one more time.
Your content's too thrilling, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, you've got a whole...
There you go.
There it is.
There's mixed reviews on the music. Some people say that it's distracting. Other people say that it's helpful. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You guys, you'll be the judge. Here we are.
Theme song.
Yeah, there are people that have live streams and they do like an intro and producers, and they have lighting, and they have professional cameras, and they have professional microphones. So I'll tell you, fun fact is that this is live stream number 6 for me, which is more than I've ever done in my life. But that's a new record for me of live streams. And the thing you need to know is that I bought myself a gift to celebrate. I bought myself a new microphone because I don't know how to make this one work all the time, but I'm trying my best. And so the new microphone is what water aerobics instructors use in the pool. And it wraps around my ears and comes out like a boom like this. So it'll be like I'm kind of on like one of those MTV shows that's like a fitness class, like yelling. So that's the plan. So hopefully I'm supposed to get it tomorrow, and then my plan is to have it next week. So really excited about that. That
Make a splash.
Yeah, make a splash in the pool. I figured one day when, you know, we need to go out in the streets and do live content, you know, and I got someone that throws a bucket of water at me or it's raining or something, that I don't have to worry about damage to the microphone because it's waterproof. So future-proofing it. Okay, here we are in Make.com.
Gotta stop pooling around. Let's get to work here.
Okay. I can tell you're using ChatGPT to help you make those.
Oh, nothing. It's all in here.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Matt can help with that?
No, it's all in here.
Okay. Here we are at Make.com, and we're in this templates tab, and this is helpful, Rob, not only to get started with learning how Make.com can be helpful with workflows, but also inspire you to create your own workflows and understand what's possible already. But I will tell you that they are very basic in nature. I was looking at this one, summarize emails with Gmail and OpenAI, then send it to Slack. It's like a lot of things you can do here. So I clicked on it, and it puts me through this guided setup, which is actually quite helpful, I find. You're seeing that it goes from Gmail to this to that, and you press start guided setup, and then it gets you set up for all these different modules along the way. I'm going to skip the guided setup because I want to show you something. When you actually start to configure these modules, and you can see that I've obviously have these pre-configured from the past, this is what they provide out of the box. They have like, please summarize the following email for me, and they provide the text content. Remember though that when I shared last week with Evan how to do the receipt capture make scenario, I used the 3 different prompts: the system prompt, the user input, the user output. And my preference is to use MatChat to help me build those out, because my fear here is that we're putting the onus on OpenAI and this model to figure out what summarize means, whereas what we just did was really get detailed on what type of an output we want. So my recommendation is to always start with something, obviously, but then fine-tune it using a MatChat to get it to the summary that you want. Because here's the thing: if every email that's coming in here, you have newsletters, you have spam, you have actual emails, you have emails that require follow-up and don't. These are the types of things you'd probably like to figure out what kind of summaries you want or not based on that. So that's just my 2 cents on templates. They're a great place to start, but you'd have to come up with your ideas to make them more useful. How's that? Okay. But a great start. Now I'm going to go back to scenarios. Let's go create a new scenario. Okay, I'm going to show you something that I wish I knew when I was getting started with Make.com, and that's entry points and schedules and how data flows, etc. Last week when we did our receipt demonstration, which I guess I can pull open right now. Let me go down here. Where is it? Run live demo. Here we go. So we had Google Drive. Remember, we have the inbox in Google Drive, which is like a Google Drive blank folder where I upload the receipts, and as the receipts come in, I then download the file and then put it through OpenAI, and then it spits out through OCR the data into the Google Sheet. Now, the thing that you don't know is right now it's not on, but if I did put it on, I have a very limited amount that I can do. I can run it at regular intervals, once every day, days of the week. Like if the days of the week, I could run it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't think the volume of receipts that I have is so great. And so if I was designing this for a client and they really wanted receipt capture, then I would say, hey, upload your receipts to this folder all the time, and just know that it's only going to run on Friday at 5 p.m. so that every day they would expect an update, or every week they would expect an update on Friday for the sheet to be updated with new information. And that's how you would set expectations. There are times where you want to have data updating more frequently, like you have more data flowing through the system, or you have a trigger based on something that's happening. And the best way to get information into Make.com is through what's called a webhook or a mail hook. Why? Because every time that let's say this was running every 10 minutes, it costs an operation, and an operation is the currency that you're paying for in the usage model with Make.com. So effectively, you would be running it every 10 minutes to look for new records, but you would be charged an operation each time that it initiates because it's going through the process. So the benefit of using a webhook is that the scenario is only called when data passes through in that one instance. So it's like only you have 5 receipts, it passes through 5 times, and that's it in the day, and there's no automatic schedule. It's just based on when data is coming into your flow. Does that make sense? Now, the thing is, most people are very familiar with the concept of a webhook. They just don't know it yet. And so this is my way of showing you what that means. I'm sure everyone has thought of a web form. They've been on a website and they filled out a web form, right? And so what's happening is you fill out inputs on the web form and you press submit, and that information is bundled together, which is into something called a payload, and it's delivered somewhere. And then information and other magic happens behind the scenes, and that's how data gets shuttled around. But effectively, that's a webhook. So what happens is, think about it as though you're setting up a webhook. It's like, I know Samantha is a theater kid, right? Am I right?
Yes.
And you enjoy being on stage?
Yes. I was born with a microphone in my hand.
Yeah, and sometimes do you ever feel like sometimes you're on stage doing your thing and people are trying to like pull you off stage because they're like, stop hogging the stage?
Yes.
Yeah? Does that ever happen to you?
I've been known to steal the spotlight.
Okay, well, imagine that Evan over here is like, okay, Samantha, enough with your shtick. And he has that hook, that hook that he's trying to pull you off stage like a cartoon character. Yep. He's trying to hook you up. That's like a webhook.
A webhook.
Yeah. He's trying to pull you off, but instead of pulling you off stage, he's pulling data from the web form into Make.com. So it's like catching a fish. It's like pulling someone off stage. It's a hook, and that's what's happening. Yep, that's right. It's a hook. So what I'm going to show you right now is by building another scenario, I'm going to show you how this works, and I'm also going to show you how easy it is to build a website and a web form so that you can actually create a business, create a thing, whatever, and test it with Make.com quickly. So what does that mean? Let's go back to MatChat, and let me walk you through this process. And I think this will inspire. I'm sure many of you have like online business ideas, or you have ideas in general you want to test, and the barrier to entry is doing web design and figuring out how to use applications and which application am I going to buy, and email marketing and this and that. Well, hopefully I can demystify quite a bit for you right now. So in this world, I'm going to, let me switch back to 3.5 Sonnet and get rid of this to just clean things up. And I'm going to keep it as my chief of staff. So I'm going to say, make a web page index.html with a contact form. Let's do this. Let's make this a little bit more of a fun example. Does anyone have any ideas? We're going to make a fake company right now. Any wild, zany ideas out there?
I sell sports cards on the weekends. Could we do a sports
card?
Do you? Yeah.
Wow. What should we, Rob? What should we call this sports car company?
Oh man, collectors.
How about Vroom Vroom? How about Vroom Vroom sports car? I need 5 names of sports car selling company.
I think you meant cards, not cars.
Oh, cards.
Sports car is way cooler though.
Yeah, sports car is pretty cool. Let's sell sports
way
cars.
cooler.
I
Yeah.
was like, wow, sports car selling. That's okay. We're gonna keep it. I need 5
Evan has a good side hustle.
Yeah.
sports car company, sports car selling company names. Whoops, company names. Let's see.
I think that would go over a little better.
Elite Motors Prestige Performance. How about we need more wordplay for Samantha
Yeah, it needs to be like 2 words as well.
Yeah.
and 2 words max.
Yeah.
And 2 words. A Throttle Thunder.
Throttle Thunder.
Or Tigers.
Or Tigers. I like that too.
Speed Syndicate. That's where we're gonna keep it.
Yeah, that's good. Speed.
Speed Syndicate. Okay, I like. I'm gonna say. What is the, what are 4 fields on the web form to book showing? Have it tell me. There you go. You like that? Preferred contact, vehicle of interest, preferred viewing date time. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Make a 1-page, I'm going to say, make a HTML or index.html website with this form. And here we go, code block that we saw from before. So it's just going and going. You can see there's Speed Syndicate exclusive sports car viewings. Ooh la la. Okay, and now you've been in this situation before. You have code in the Matt Chat experience, and you're like, how do I get this to show for me? So I put together a little document that is screenshots to show you. So some of us are on a Mac and some of us are on a PC. So if you're on a PC, you're going to use Notepad. And if you're on a Mac, you're going to use TextEdit. And I have TextEdit in my doc, and this is me showing you what the TextEdit looks like. But you can always find it in your Finder on a Mac. And this is what happens when you open the application for the first time and create a TextEdit file. You can see that it's a .rtf, which is rich text file, which is not the format that we want to save this in. And then I see, yoo-hoo, you see that? Yoo-hoo, Rob, do you see that there? That's a little Easter egg for you.
That was a good Easter egg. Thanks for that.
This is for you. So then you come down and you go to Format, Make Plain Text. Now I think in Notepad on a PC, it's already in plain text. I don't know if you have to worry about that, but I could be wrong. And then once you make it plain text, you'll see that untitled4 is now .txt instead of the rich text. So then it's yoo-hoo, back to you, Rob, over here. Yoo-hoo, that's you, that's for you. And then we come down a little more, and then I paste all the HTML that I have from Matt Chat here. So I'm gonna do that behind the scenes here. Let me do this live. I just can't share my screen at the same time to show you how that works. But I'm going to do those same steps. Let's go to make plain text, paste. Okay, so then, this is tricky. This is where people slip up. You come down here and you'll see when I try to save it, it doesn't save it as HTML, it saves it as .text. So what I have to do is change it to be .html, and here I decided to call it index_mat, but it can be anything .html. Okay, so I'm gonna do this live on my screen. You can't see because I can't share my screen in this moment, but I'm gonna say index. We're gonna call this index cars.html, which you'll see in a second. I'm gonna save that. And then what happens is then it says, are you sure you know what you're doing? And you say use HTML, so you don't save it as text. And then you'll see that on the top indexmat2.html, this is your file. Now you keep it open because we're gonna keep making changes to this, and every time you save it, you'll be able to see the changes. Where do you see the changes? Well, in the file that you have now saved on your desktops or on or somewhere, you can drag it in, and look, this is the website.
Whoa.
that it created for us.
What?
That's what it created on the fly. Okay, so that's a website. And so now you're talking about like web hosting. How do we get this live? Don't worry about it. This is local on the machine. It's running live. Now the problem is there's nowhere to submit the information to. So it's like a web form that doesn't go anywhere, but we're gonna connect that in a second. So here we have, I bet if we have, look, it even has validation in there because that's what was put in from the behind the scenes from the Matt Chat experience. And then it has here all the best cars, you know, all the cars in Evan's garage. Here we got Lamborghini, McLaren, and then we got our, looks like we can do like a, I don't, can you guys see this on the screen? Can you see that?
I couldn't see the cars actually, no.
Can you see
Yeah,
that? No, you can't see that. It basically gives me like a little pop-up which I can choose like a booking date and time with like unlimited availability. Okay, so now you're like, okay, cool. So I go back to make.com. I go to webhooks. And then you'll see there's another thing people get tripped on all the time is there's custom webhook and custom mailhook. And so a mailhook is when you're pulling data from a email service, and then webhook is when you're pulling it from a web form, basically. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do custom webhook, and then we're gonna add a hook, and we're gonna call this sports cars, and save. And now what's happening is this is the webhook address. You can see it's hook.us2make.com, blah, 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 whatever. You click copy address to clipboard, and we go over to Matt Chat, and you say, here is where to submit the form. Please update the code.
Just very impressive.
Oh, yeah, Matt, I don't mean to fuel your ego, but this is pretty cool.
This is really cool.
That's okay. You can start your engines. Yeah. Okay, so then we're going to go back up here. Here, I'll show you in the code where it is. So you have this is the container of the form. And then you can see those are like the full name, preferred contact. These are the fields for the cars. Then the preferred viewing time, etc. Then the success message, okay, whatever, book showing. And then down here you see the fetch. It's doing a post call in application JSON, which is the structure that it's reading. And this is where the webhook is. Now you don't have to know how to code. There's no reason to know how to code. It just does it for you. And it has all these different success and error messages built in already. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy that. I'm gonna go back to the text that I have. I'm gonna paste over it and save. Then when I go back to Speed Syndicate and I refresh, I think it refreshed. If not, I can just click that. And if I go to view page source and I go to make.com, you'll see that now it's in the page source, which is on my desktop. So that's valid. And so now what we're gonna do is it's now for the first time, because we're setting up the webhook for the first time, it doesn't know what the data structure is gonna be of the data from the payload. So we're waiting for that to happen now for the first time. So what I'm gonna do is go back over here. We're gonna say, Evan Jones, preferred contact. We're gonna say, let's say your number is this and that. And your vehicle, what is it, Evan?
Sorry, I was muted. Let's go with the McLaren.
McLaren.
Yes.
And then we'll choose a time. Let me choose a time. We're gonna say you're ready to go tomorrow. Book showing. Okay, so you see this like, thank you, we'll contact you shortly to confirm. This is all made by Matt Chat. And now when I go over to make.com, you'll see this successfully determined. Okay, so it received the data for the first time, and you're gonna press save. And now you're like, okay, well, I don't see any data. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's like always, I'm telling you, this tripped me up the first time, but now I like understand how to do it. So don't worry about that. Now that it understands the data structure, you're gonna press this run once button, and it's gonna start listening for the data. So you come back over here, and now we're gonna go Evan Daniels and preferred number, we'll make one up, whatever, international number. And then we've got Porsche, and then preferred time is gonna be on the 18th, book showing. You go back here, look at this. This is the output that was received. So you can see Evan Daniels with the contact, with the vehicle, with the stuff. And now you can continue building. And so the difference is, remember how before the options I had down below were like every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, etc. Now I have immediately as data arrives, and I'm only charged for operations when the webhook is called. And so this is the best way to build. So when you have an application that has a web form and you need to do routing or you need to do anything, this is the preferred way. It's how to save on the operations. Not that they're too expensive to start out with, but you just want to, you don't want to like overload your application with more than necessary. And so this is a way of getting things in there. So what could this be helpful for? Imagine that instead of us creating a web form for this fake car company, instead it was an input for content for Samantha. So let's say that she had, we decided that, I'll give you another example. Let's now totally switch gears, back to MapChat, make a new thing, and I'll say, I am, what are you doing, yoga content, Samantha? What's your content? Okay, I am a yoga instructor and am building content all the time. Provide me with a web form, here I'll say an index, I'll make it really easy, index.html that has a web form where I can load content with attachments to fuel my campaigns. What fields would you suggest? It kind of just did it for me there.
It's got the different yoga types in there too. That's pretty cool.
Really go into town here for you. You're really putting it to work. So here you go. This is the explanation. Basic content information, content title, content type, difficulty level, duration, yoga style, content details, description, tags for categorization, SEO, keywords, etc. Main image, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to go back to the top. I already have my live code open, so I'm going to go ahead and save over it. And it's just going to allow me to go back to Speech Syndicate. Let's refresh this. Now we have the yoga content form upload. And so you can imagine with make.com, you can now add your main image, your video upload, etc. And you can just feed a whole bunch of content into here. And then when you press upload content, it will now add it here. And maybe these steps are post to Facebook, post to LinkedIn, post to whatever, based on the different, go with me for a second. Let's say that on Instagram, you want to paste a picture and you want the text to be formatted a specific way, and that's what happens on Instagram. And then on Facebook, you want it in a different way, and you've decided what that is. You would have the data going to different places, and you're saying, how does that work? Well, this is what I want to show you next. After you get the data in, there's a couple different ways to manipulate the data. There's tools and flow control. And flow control, I'm going to show you one of them right now, which is router. This is also a common mistake that I've had in the past, which I have to tell you about. Router is, you could say, the data goes in here into the router. This is a fork in the road. And then you decide which route it's going to take by adding a filter here. So you can go set up a filter, and you can say, let's say that one of the fields that pass through is, I don't know, let's say instead of vehicle, it was when vehicle equals Porsche, but let's say when, instead of vehicle, let's say that it was like content type, and here we have Facebook. So let's say that was the filter. We could have this be the whole Facebook thing. So you can just pass the same data in the webhook all the time, and then it knows which to go. So this could be Facebook, Instagram, and you can keep building and building and building and building for all the different ones. What's important though, is that this is going to continue spinning around and going and going and going and using operations every single time until you let it know to stop. And so usually on the last step, you want to make sure that whatever the gear icon or the wrench icon is here, the filter, you set up a fallback method, yes. And you save that. Now, how could this be helpful? let me give you some scenarios that are crazy. In addition to like posting content in these different places, there are other ways to do this. Let's say that you were creating a chat experience in Slack, and you wanted the ability for, based on different types of payloads that are sent through, whether it's like a message, or it's a message with an attachment, or it's a message with a question mark, or it's like something, and you pass it through, you want to make sure that it goes to the right route so that the response is in line with whatever needs to happen. And so this is basically how to build an application. You determine what all the input would be, and then what all the outputs would be. And this is how people are building applications. I don't know if that might be too much information, but I have a really exciting use case to show you guys in the future. This is also how, I'm sure you've heard of the term AI agents.
Yep.
This is how AI agents work. You can think of an AI agent as being the router. The only difference is, instead of having to tell it what the filters are, you put it in the prompt, and then it decides, based on the information that it receives, what route to take. And that's how an AI agent works. So we're gonna get into that another time. That's my show and tell for today. I just wanted to show you how to get data into Make.com, the different variations. We talked about that. Showed you webhooks, showed you how easy it is to create a website. Remember that it's not connected to the web, but it's at least on your computer, and you can get information there and test it. And how easy it is to get information into Make.com. How was that? Let's do some live feedback. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Let's start with Samantha.
That was amazing. I want to test it out myself.
Yeah, I want all of you to test it out. I was thinking of wrapping up here in the next section, which is new or run, the N of run. I don't know what it stands for anymore, but it's something. It's next level. I would like to see who here is willing to come back next week and accept my challenge of trying Make.com, building a scenario for themselves, and then walking us through what you built and what you learned along the way. Any takers?
I'm in.
You're in? And then you're in?
I'll be here next week, Matt.
Yeah, Rob, you're in?
Why not? Yeah, I'll try it out. I've already made one scenario with your help, but I can try to do an easier one.
Samantha, how about this? Knowing that you guys are a little bit apprehensive and new to Make.com, how about I give each of you a half an hour working session, office hours this week, one-on-one. So you can try to do your thing, and then we can meet and try to make it a little bit crisper, and then you'll have what you need, and you can present to this group, and we can, maybe we'll have a winner with a prize.
Yeah, I'd love a prize.
You're doing it for the competition. Now it's a competition.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was going to say. We should have a competition for who does the best one, but
What's the scoring criteria?
well, let's have Matt Chat make it.
Okay, that sounds good. We can do it on the fly. That's good. Does anyone want to give a preview of what you're going to be working on for next week?
No, we already spoiled the fun.
No? Okay.
Yes.
No? Okay, great. Wow.
See you next time. Right?
I'm literally on the edge of my seat. So, and you'll be able to hopefully see that new microphone, maybe just down here, or maybe it's over here, unclear. But
Oh, you're going to need it next week.
You're going to have to be in a pool. You have to really prove out the fact that it's...
I could make a splash, as you said. Okay, well, listen. This was a wonderful episode. It's great to have you guys here, and really excited to have everyone back next week. It'll be a showstopper, I'm sure. And I'm definitely okay meeting with all of you to teach you some tricks in Matt Chat and also in Make.com this week to get your scenarios humming. Any parting thoughts before we go? Anything you want to share? This was pretty fun, huh?
That was great. Thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Everyone
Appreciate
learned something?
it. Yeah, dude.
Yes, good. And no one's crying yet, so everyone's still smiling. Well, except for Samantha. Are you crying? Yeah, I don't know. All right. We'll see everyone here again next week.